You're gonna go first?
You were gonna go first.
All right, I'll go. Thanks, Josh. Hi, it's Julia. I just want to say that I don't know what to say at this moment, to be honest, but it's a lovely event that Barb and Carrie and Jerry have all put together here, and it's an amazing life that we're honoring and that we're celebrating and remembering. And I hope that we all can dance a little bit later in honor of Stace.
Thank you for having us for the celebration of Stacie's life. We're grateful to have known her and spent time with her, and we want to celebrate the life she lived, the joy she brought to us, and the legacy she has left.
All the best to the families.
I want to make sure that I get Connor and Kaylee. Where's Connor and Kaylee?
Kaylee's right there, and I think
Okay, Connor and Kaylee for sure. And of course, coming all the way from London, Garth Griffith, as we call Griff, and Yayan, who's over there, and May's in London, but beautiful family, Stacie's husband. And we thank you guys for being there. And for 1 second, I want to thank my niece, Michelle, for coming all the way from Florida to represent my sister and her two brothers. So wonderful to have you all here. We're going to get into the little program in a few minutes, but I just want to bring Barbara up for a second to say a couple words.
Hello, everybody, and I really appreciate that you're all here today and joining us. After I finish saying hello and all that, I would like to invite you all to go over to the gazebo. We have some photos of Stacie there, and there's a guest book, and if you could please sign in and write a comment if you'd like, that would be wonderful. And I just want to welcome you all. We have people here from Boston, Toronto, Florida, Texas. Did I miss someplace? Michigan. If I did, I apologize. And all over various areas of Michigan. And we want you to celebrate Stacie today, enjoy food, and have some beverage. And then in a little while, a few of us are going to tell you something about Stacie that we would like to remember. Thanks for being here.
Hi there. I'm back again. We're going to start our little program just to remember that we're here to celebrate Stacie's life and tell some stories, and just make sure everybody might know what a remarkable lady Stacie was. And I just was I could reminisce 2,000 ideas in my head. I was so very blessed to have such a phenomenal relationship for 44 years with Stacie, and we did a zillion things along with Carrie, of course, and Ellen, and Adam, and we had such a phenomenal time together. But the first thing that popped in my mind, and I don't want to tell too many, but Stacie living in London, okay? I always say to myself, how could I let that happen? Or at least Barbara says it to me. And, well, there is a sort of excuse. My father was born in London, England. So it was not quite a second home, but at least I had been there a few times. So she kind of talked me into going to grad school there, and which, of course, she was very accomplished in English. Can you imagine an American teaching English to the English? But of course, she did it. She could do it. And she called me, I think it was a couple years ago, and of course, May, having been born with some birth defects and having some problems, Stacie was a tremendous advocate of these kinds of children. And if you've ever seen what she wrote on baby care, it was incredible, both in the United States and in Great Britain. She wrote so many phenomenal things to help other people who had problems with their children, like she had with May. And she had this real drive in her that was incredible. And one of the things was the supermarket, to have a cart in the supermarket that you could put, a young one in, so that they would be able to be wheeled around the supermarket and you can get your groceries and everything. And she started petitioning the various supermarkets and to get them to do things and mention it in articles and of course in Baby Center. And what happened, lo and behold, is they got these new kind of carts that you could put these children in that would help you shopping. And during the course of all that, she was invited to Parliament to speak, which is a tremendous honor. And I was so proud. And twice, yes, thank you. Yeah, twice. But the first time she did it, she called me up after it was over, and she said to me, "Dad, your father would be so proud of me." That was such a great line, that my father, born in England, would be so proud of her. The other little thing I wanted to mention was Stacie somehow, during the course of her life, developed a kind of a love for watches, which I have, from some of you know slightly. My father being a pawnbroker, I got an early start in the out-of-pawn used watch business. But Stacie liked watches a lot, and a lot. Part of this is due to Carrie, because I'm saying to Carrie, about 6 years ago, geez, what can I do special? Stacie's going to be 40. Oh my God, 40 years old. And Carrie quickly piped up with, well, you should take her on a special trip, just the two of you. Especially interesting since they're a year and a half apart and she's next. And I'm an equal opportunity traveler when it comes to my children. So I said, oh, cool. Where do you think I should take her? Well, she's in Europe. Okay. So getting close, maybe a year away, I said, I want to take you. We can arrange it a year ahead of time. Just the two of us. Let's go on a little trip, something special. You pick it. You pick where you want to go. Okay? So Stacie says, I want to go to Geneva, Switzerland. What? Geneva, Switzerland. Well, it happens to be like the watch capital of the world. All the offices of all these Swiss-made watch companies are located there, which is incredible. She wanted to go there. And what a phenomenal time we had in Geneva. Stayed in a wonderful place with a large swimming pool. She loved to swim. And we went to all these watch companies' offices, and the Patek Philippe Museum, which is unbelievable to see. Just a phenomenal place. And during the course of all those years, I would be giving Stacie watches all the time. And, you know, I figured, well, I'll wait till she gets a little older to give her the real expensive one. So I started giving her, you know, Swatch watch or some small watch, because the big watches are in. And during the course of maybe the last 15 years, I probably gave her maybe 25, 30 watches. And in honesty, a lot of them were ones I wasn't going to wear anymore, weren't that valuable, although she certainly loved her Shinola watch a lot. So after Stacie passed away, she left a list of things she wanted to give to her closest relatives. And to her father, she said, "I'm giving back all those watches to you." So I got all those watches back. So, but now they're kind of special memory stuff. So I want to introduce Carrie to talk, and just I have to say how blessed I am to have all you here, all my great friends and relatives, and I am super blessed, as Barbara is, to have such a phenomenal daughter as Carrie. She's been my absolute rock during this time, and bringing the kids over all the time, calls me all the time. I'm so blessed. So Carrie's going to say some things about Stacie.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for being here. It was all good until Dad talked. I really thank all of you for being here today. And I really want to thank my friends coming. And a special thanks to Chad's parents, Sandy and Chester, for every time they watched the kids for me so I could go spend time with my sister. So today I came up with 10 reasons I love my sister Stacie. There, of course, are more. Stacie was my first best friend. Even at a young age, we enjoyed playing board games, roller skating in the basement, dancing in our favorite costumes to music. We also loved swimming at the pool and running through the sprinklers. Stacie had a genuine and contagious smile. When Chad and I got married, we took a limo to the reception with Linda and Johnny, and Stacie and Gareth, and someone said something funny, and Gareth spit his water all over Stacie's dress. I thought she was going to be so mad at him, but instead she bursted out laughing. So we all laughed. And it was a lesson to not sweat the small stuff. Our first lesson as husband and wife. When we were little, we had different interests. Stacie could read a book all day. I could play with my dolls all day. We did have a lot of fun being crafty, doing ballet, and being a part of theater performances together. As teenagers, Stacie loved to drive up and down Orchard Lake Road, trying to get me to love heavy metal music instead of rap music. Then, being parents was a new way for us to connect. We were lucky to come from such loving parents. Stacie loved to show her love. Stacie loved to show her love with lots of long hugs. We can never get enough of our parents' childhood memories, many we memorized. She loved books and was an author of Taking the Plunge, a tale about her wedding to Gareth. She was a special needs advocate inspired by her daughter May. As my dad said, she spoke in front of Parliament several times on housing. She was a creative writer on her Mama Lewis blog and had many followers. Stacie and I had a love for Scrabble. She gave my daughter Kaylee and I the Scrabble bracelets we are wearing today. Kaylee, hold up your hand. So Kaylee says Kaylee and mine says Carrie. We enjoyed walking in Ann Arbor at the Botanical Gardens, in the park in my sub, and the park near her home in London. She loved to sit on the bench and watch Ian play catch with Gareth or ride his bike. My mother loves to plan mystery trips, giving clues or letting us guess, but never letting us know where she was taking us. Stacie carried this tradition on with her children, and several times I visited her. In London, she would plan a visit to an art fair, a play, a late night show in the park, making every visit especially nice. She made me feel very special. Stacie used to say I could make her laugh so easily. We loved to be silly and agreed our children were more fun than watching TV. Connor and Kaylee, Yayan and May would laugh and cuddle together, and sometimes we could laugh so hard we cried, but the good kind, which brought extra joy to Stacie and I. I felt her love even over the phone. We used WhatsApp and Skype to see each other and shared photos. And sometimes on a walk we would share photos so we felt like we were walking together. The past several years, my mom, dad, and I made several trips to London to be close to Stacie. We were very fortunate for that time. Stacie's middle name was Joy. She was just that. There are seriously more than 10 reasons I love my sister. So appreciate all of you joining us today to truly celebrate Stacie. She was and always will be my best friend. Okay, Chloe, you're up.
So, this might be a small memory in comparison to all these millions of memories I have about Stacie, but for some reason this one's very important to me, and I don't know if it's the routine of it, or it was just kind of our, somewhat our routine. So, I don't know if people know, but Stacie and I shared a room kind of growing up, or I lived in her room. She would come back from college, and we would have, quote-unquote, a sleepover, or at least it felt like it to me, as I was much younger than her, and kind of sparked this last night, because Kaylee and I had a sleepover, and I remember waking up in the morning, and she was always on the left side of the bed, I was always on the right side of bed, and I would creep out, go downstairs, because she loved her sleep. Loved her sleep. Not that I needed to creep out of the room, because she could sleep through anything, without any issue. And then I remember it'd be a big treat for me to have to go wake up Stacie in the morning, which wasn't always a treat because she never really wanted to wake up. In contrast, though, when she was quite alive in the morning and when she was up and at 'em and had her coffee or her tea, Stacie is a vivacious person, and as Jerry said, she was an advocate, which is something I very much admire about her and will continue to admire and kind of to aspire to be in my life in different ways. But she was strong, independent, marched the beat of her own drum, and those are all things I just aspired to be in my life and in her stead. So thank you all. And Julia, you are next.
Thank you, Chloe.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Julia. Stacie was my best friend since we were 14, which I don't like to often say how old I am, but it was a very long time ago. I just want to share a little bit about Stacie that I think everybody here knows. I mean, when I think about her and her life, the things that always come to mind to me is how fearless she was. And she was probably the most infectious spirit in the room, oftentimes, with her energy and her ability to coerce you into doing things that otherwise you probably wouldn't do. Carrie mentioned that Stacie would often try to get her metal over rap. Stacie and I shared a love for heavy metal as kids, and we went to countless concerts together. And so I thought I'd share just a few stories just to kind of personify the type of person that she was and just kind of remember just her awesomeness and her spirit. You guys know Metallica, anybody? Okay, yeah. So we went to a lot of Metallica concerts, but we went to one Metallica concert where, do you guys know Guns N' Roses? Okay, yeah, they were opening for Metallica. And before Guns N' Roses was another band that you may have heard of called Alice in Chains. They were opening for them, and it was at a place called the Pontiac Silverdome, which I don't know if anybody knows the Pontiac Silverdome. It was it's an enormous football stadium that no longer, unfortunately, exists. But it was huge, and we had general admission tickets, because that's usually we're like, hey, we'll just be in the pit. It's cool, we don't need to sit. We're gonna rock out and just headbang. Stacie somehow scored us. I don't even know how she did it. Didn't ask any questions. Somehow she got us tickets. There was sort of two pits in this place. There was a pit in the front and then a pit in the back. So the front were the diehard, we're really serious about this stuff, and then the back were the ones that we could afford. So at the time, so she comes out and she's like, dude, these two dudes gave me this one. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna get another wristband thing, and I'm gonna come out and get you from another dude in there, and then we're gonna go in there. Okay, cool, got it. I was like, oh, okay, sure, that sounds great. I was a yes and kind of person back at the time, still am. Could never say no to it. So I was like, of course, this sounds crazy, but we're gonna do it. So we get into the pit, right? And you guys know how tall Stacie is, right? She was 5 foot something, and some change. I'm not much taller. I wear shoes to kind of increase my height. And so we were two little midget-like girls in this massive front row mosh pit thing. And we literally somehow, because Stacie's she never wanted to be in the back. She was she would push her way to it was amazing how she could just make things happen. And she did it throughout her life. And she just pushed her way to the front of this intense, again, Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses, Metallica. You can imagine the crowd that was there. And we were the only two girls, little girls, in the front row. We were front row, right front, against the gate thing, And the security guys were, really concerned about us, and they were, coming around, okay, you guys okay? And we literally, this is how we spent the concert like this, had, on one leg. So it was an amazing thing because she was just an amazing person, and she could just do so much, get things done. And she did it throughout her life. Just from that one concert and on, you just saw it with the family that she created with Griff, with May, with fighting for people's rights, with being a voice for people, even when she didn't want to be. She was like, I didn't ask for this. And I was like, but it's a gift, and you were given this, and it's an amazing thing. And she accepted it, and she went on to be a voice for so many. And I love her, and I miss her, and I know that we all do. And for Stacie, I hope that we all continue to fight the good fight, and that we do good things for other people, because that's what she did. Thank you. Barb.
Julia left out a story that I'd like to tell. And that was one night, about 1 o'clock in the morning or so, I got a call from Julia's mother, Kathy, wondering where Julia was. And I said, well, I don't know, Stacie's asleep. and I went to check on Stacie, and Stacie wasn't there. So I went downstairs, and there was Stacie, all dressed. I said, "Where are you going?" And she said, "Oh, nowhere." And I said, "Well, why are you all dressed?" "Oh, I just felt like it." I said, "Right, at 1 o'clock in the morning." So that got canned. Yeah. And today is just such a wonderful tribute to Stacie. Gareth and Yayan, so meaningful that you're here from London with us. We had some helpers for this event, and Carrie did the display boards collected all the photos of Stacie, which was just wonderful. And her friend Michelle played the harp at the beginning, and her brother Josh is videotaping. And hosting this event with Jerry and Ellen, and Ed and I, and Carrie and Chad, many friends from Stacie's childhood had the opportunity to join us today. Stacie and her sister Carrie are only 18 months apart, and we're very close playmates. And Stacie used to read like Carrie was saying, and Carrie would come by and poke her. She wanted Carrie to come play with her. And I said, "Carrie, one of these days, this is going to get back at you." And it did. Ed considered Stacie his daughter, and Stacie was a wonderful big sister to Tony and Chloe. I'm sure we've been hearing many stories about Stacie today, and I thought I'd tell a few that involve some of you. Marina Corrales and I taught elementary school together. And before cell phones, I called my doctor from the school office and learned I was pregnant. Marina was carrying a typewriter across her classroom, and when I shared my news, she nearly dropped it. Marina was the first person I told that I was pregnant with Stacie, so I'm so happy you're here. Jane and Gary were like aunt and uncle to Stacie and Carrie. We shared backyards, and every winter, the girls loved to go to Gary and Jane's mountain and slide down the mountain, which was a little mini slight slope. I remember taking Stacie as a toddler to Jane's kindergarten class to teach about Hanukkah. And in turn, Jane and Gary would have us over for Christmas tree decoration, and she'd have the girls help decorate their tree. We spent many fun times with Cheryl Barry Lucretz's family. On a trip to Disney World, Stacie and Robbie were madly in love. Sorry, Gareth. Robbie was Stacie's first love, and they were all 4 years old. I've got pictures of them hugging and kissing at Disney World. Stacie and Carrie had delightful visits with their first cousins, Michelle David and Andrew Newman, and Toronto cousins, Freema, Heather, and Andrew. They also spent many days after school playing with the next door neighbors, Lauren and Michael, Annette and Lenny Toper's kids. I don't know where they are right now. Stacie's love of reading began as soon as she could climb onto her little red rocking chair and hold board books. She would even stop to read signs. Sometimes we'd be walking down maybe an airport corridor, and Carrie and I would say, "Where's Stacie?" And she'd be back looking at some sign. We read every night at bedtime, and if she couldn't sleep, she asked me to play the piano. Her favorite character was Mickey Mouse, whether a birthday party theme or Halloween costume. She loved nursery school and would skip off to the bus for kindergarten. As we said, Stacie was petite. She once told me that she was the smallest child in kindergarten, and that meant she was the smallest child in the whole school. She learned to play piano and wanted to play just the triangle in elementary school band. I explained that triangle was only one instrument of percussion. So then she chose to play drums, and at her first concert, All I could see was her little hair pom-pom on top of a big bass drum. In 6th grade, she played full drum set with stick set lit up as she sang Material Girl in full Madonna fashion. Stacie's dance career began at 4 years old, tap dancing as a bride, then continuing with ballet through teens. Her acting debut was in 1st grade when she stood as a very proud tree. After dinner, she and Carrie would dress up in costumes and twirl about. I gladly interrupted washing dishes to be their audience. At 8 years old, her Camp Tanuga director invited me to see her perform Amaryllis in The Music Man. I drove 3.5 hours to be amazed that my daughter could sing. I truly didn't know. Thus, a star was born and drama became a prominent role throughout middle and high school. She performed the part of Tiger Lily in a children's production of Peter Pan at the Marquis Theater and was in school productions from grades 7 through 12. In 9th grade, she was a cheerleader. She also sang a solo from Annie, alone on a stage with a single spotlight. I don't know how she had the nerve to do that. Stacie did lovely artwork and created many treasures. Her writing career began quite young, as well as her other talents. Her first novel was about a dog named Scruffy. She loved horseback riding and had the opportunity to take lessons. She liked to videotape, which she used to do with Julia all the time, and once on an airplane decided to play on-the-scene reporter, interviewing very embarrassed passengers. She also zoomed in on all the men with bald heads. We shared so many laughs. If there was a celebration to be had, whether Passover, Easter, Hanukkah, or Christmas, Stacie was your girl. Her birthday would last an entire month. Stacie graduated from Michigan State University, and soon after she attended University of London, where she met Gareth. Gareth recalled his first impression of Stacie was that she was very small, a head shorter than he. She wore floppy, baggy trousers, long sleeve t-shirts, and had her hair cut in a short bob. She looked like a pixie or elf that had decided to experiment in wearing army boots. She was striking and definitely American, and there was something frank about her that he liked. They argued good-naturedly in academic seminars about philosophy, writing, popular culture, and just about everything else under the sun. They started spending time together. They loved their English courses, then they loved each other, and were married in 2000. The greatest gifts she and Gareth gave me are my 2 wonderful grandchildren with whom she shared her love of reading, replete with animation, as we did when she was little. It gave me much nachas. I became Grandma Bar to May and Yayan, as I am to Connor and Kaylee in Michigan. And Yayan, may I borrow you for a moment? Yayan, what did you like to bake with Mommy?
Cake.
And what flavor cake did you like to bake?
Chocolates.
Okay. And do you remember this poem that you used to like? Mommy used to laugh when you'd read this poem. It's called The Loser, Shel Silverstein poem.
I don't know.
Well, maybe you can just help me. Okay. Mama said I'd lose my head if it wasn't fastened on. Today, I guess it wasn't, because while playing with my cousin, it fell off and rolled away. And now it's gone. And I can't look for it.
Because my eyes are in it.
And I can't call to it.
Because my mouth is on it.
And it couldn't hear me anyway.
Because my ears are on it.
And can't even think about it.
Because my brain is in it.
So I guess I'll just sit down on this rock
and rest for just a minute.
And what is the rock?
His head.
Okay, so that's the end of our talks for today. We hope you enjoy some more food. There'll be just some desserts out. And please remember to go and sign Stacie's guest book. Thank you very much.